Arcueid Brunstad is the main heroine of Tsukihime, yet it'd be hard for people to realize that with her lack of screen time. And even in other side series, Arcueid is given rather little compared to the other heroines. Today we are going to tackle Arcueid and Archetype Earth. But before we do that, we have to talk about who Arcueid was beforehand.
呆れた。こんな極東の島国まで転生先に選ぶなんて。まあいいわ。待ってねサイロは。すぐに見つけ出してあげるから。
Arcueid is a vampire made to hunt down other vampires. She would do this job diligently, so much so that she never gave herself free time for her own enjoyment. This was all till Arcueid met Roa, Michael Roa. When they met, they were, well, we don't fully know how much about their relationship, but it's mostly implied to have been somewhat romantic. However, there is something that happens in the end. Roa ends up betraying her and she ends up giving him her blood. After this, she becomes more closed off and diligent to killing vampires. And all because Roa wanted to attain immortality. From what little we know, Roa did actually love Arcueid. However, he was more enamored with the image of Archetype Earth rather than Arcueid herself. He wanted to be loved and noticed by the archetype, yet he could never get noticed by the archetype herself. Roa's betrayal really affected Arcueid, especially her self-esteem, and what she believed she deserved. She would go through the motions till Shiki killed her. Reviving herself, she felt enraged by her killer, then curious about them, to being gleeful to meet her own killer. The first time in a while, her emotion came back to her. Shiki even taught her how to live like a human. Shiki taught Arcueid that she deserved to be loved, and that she shouldn't believe that she doesn't deserve anything. She deserved to be loved, she deserved to have wants, she deserved to live like a human being just like anyone else. After working together with Shiki and Ciel to kill Roa, she was finally free from her chains of guilt. Now she can act in any manner of ways, with nothing weighing her down, for better or worse. In one of the endings of Tsukihime, Arcueid disappears. Shiki goes to the school as part of their promise. He goes there, and he goes there, but she doesn't appear until one day she finally does. And to quote Arcueid, a lot of Shiki action for this share resemblance to Roa's obsession with Archetype Earth. So Arcueid gives Shiki a reality check, telling him how pathetic he looks and how that the person that he thinks Arcueid isn't the person that she is. And she thanks him for helping her discover who she is. This ending is beautiful because it teaches both of the characters that they always need to be true to themselves. Shiki was hard looking for a place to belong. This is something Shiki always wanted. And to just have that taken away, it hurts. But he also has to learn that he can also be deserving of love, that he needs to love himself. He needs to learn from the lesson that he taught Arcueid.
センスの獲得、ルールの交換、スケールの歪小翻訳。こんなところか。少々不自由だが、この窮屈さも心地よい。ざわめきに心が弾む。多すぎる風すら愛おしい。これでは足取りも軽くなるというもの。すまぬな幼き姫よ。この器、しばし借りるぞ。何？とりあえずはこの夜が明けるまでの話。 そう無体な真似はせぬ。私にも人の世界とやらを楽しませよ。
Archetype Earth is Arcueid former self, though it's not like this side of Arcueid is gone. Archetype Earth and Arcueid are rather distant in personality, yet also similar in a way. Calling the two sisters or calling them the same person wouldn't be wrong either. Yet calling them different people would also be correct. In a way, similar to Shiki and Anaya, these two are two different sides of the same coin. Archetype Earth and Arcueid both are brash and forward. However, Archetype Earth is brash due to overanalyzing things. Too much to the point that if there is a problem, she comes up with the simplest solution, while Arcueid barely thinks about a conflict as she finds no need to worry about the details. They are both weighed down by mental chains. Archetype Earth with her chains of duty as well as her job as the archetype. And also, in a way, she has the chains of family. Compared to Arcueid, who doesn't really care much about her family, Arcueid with her chains of guilt. Both of them find Shiki interesting. Arcueid for how she knows Shiki intimately, and Archetype Earth for how she knows Shiki mentally, how she sees him as a wild card.
寄り道をするつもりはなかったんだけど、気がつけばいけすかない教会の中か。土地そのものに暗示をかけるなんて、教会の魔術師だってうまくいかないのに。魔術は使わないんじゃなかったの、シエル。それも時と場合、相手によります。あなたのような反則を叩き伏せるのに、ルールがどうだの、モラルがどうだの、気にしていては話にならないでしょ？あ、そりゃそっか。うん、納得した。はーい、こんばんはシエル。そこいらに使徒が歩いてる状況だから、もしかしたらやられちゃったかなーって心配してたけど。元気そうで何より何より。まったく、あなたもいつも通りでうんざりです。信じたくはありませんが、本当に私の心配をしていたようですね、アルクエイド。喧嘩仲間を気にかけるのは当然じゃない。もしあなたが再起不能になるなら、そうしてあげるのは私じゃなくっちゃ。ほんと、気をつけてよね、シエル。あんな雑魚たちにやられてたら、生き返らせて文句を言って、もう一度殺しちゃうから。相変わらず、自分の立場が分かっていないようですね。あなたは神祖。私は代行者。永劫に慣れ合うことのない敵同士です。ええ。この微妙な関係もいい加減うんざりです。決着をつけましょう、アルクエイド。それと、式のこともね。いいわ。そういうことなら付き合いましょう。で、殴り合った後は、河原で悪口を言い合うのよね。ああ、もう、いつにも増して酔っ払ってますね、あなたは。
In Kagetsu Tohya, Arcueid watches Shiki jump in front of a truck to save a cat. This cat being Lin. That is a lie. A lie constructed by both Arcueid and Lin to tell Shiki. But if you look closer at a majority of scenes, you know the truth. Arcueid in a lot of scenes always seem to be trying to pick her words carefully with Shiki. But she's also curious as to why Shiki feels the way he does. She won't force an answer out of him, nor will she try to imply the actual truth, but she'll always be curious as to why. Why does Shiki feel this way? Archetype Earth, on the other hand, with her few scenes, wishes to know why Shiki feels the way he does, but she will probe him, almost tempting to tell the truth to him. A truth that he may not be ready to face, yet she doesn't care as long as she gets the answer. The two like Shiki and are curious about Shiki, but only Arcueid cares about Shiki's well-being. It is on Arcueid's request to Lin that Lin saves Shiki. that Len put Shiki into a dreamlike world where he's happy. Put him in an eternal summer that never ends, full of happiness. Yet, the further this dream goes on, the more and more Shiki wants to get out the world. He wants to see the end of the world. This manifests into Nanaya. And in a way, it's kind of cruel. Arcueid really did have the best intention, yet in a way, it also really showed his hand that it's cruel to force someone into a world of happiness when they don't want to be happy. And Archetype Earth wouldn't give a crap about that. She would just see Shiki being sad, ask why he's sad, and just, if he does something afterwards, let him do it. That's the difference between the two. Archetype Earth doesn't care what happens to Shiki. She cares what Shiki does, she likes what Shiki does, but she never cares about him. Arcueid will care recklessly, even put Shiki in more danger because of how much she cares about him.
ネロカオス、驚いたわ。あなたほどの大物がいるなんて。一体どんな風の吹き回し？
何？吸血鬼社会のしがらみというやつだ。本意ではないが、これも決まりでな。その首をもらうため、ここまで追ってきたのだよ。そう、予定に入っていなかったけど、死にたいのなら相手になってあげる。確かあなたは蛇の盟友だったわよね。首だけは残してあげるから、あいつの居所を教えてもらうわ。
Melty Blood at first glance for Arcueid seemed like a simple bare-bones story, but there is deeper layer to all of it. In the first original Melty Blood, Arcueid's sister Altruge is the reason for Zephia becoming the vampire Walshia, with the curse of Tatari. It's, in a way, Arcueid cutting off the chains of her family. When she brings out the moon, she ending that curse that is on Walshia, or well, Zephia, and she is taking care of it herself. It can be seen as a way of, well, her taking the curse off herself, of her family, of her duty, and the last vampire that she has to kill herself. Now, obviously, she still takes responsibility, but in this game, she is rather lax with her responsibility. When she sees Sion, she doesn't really try to kill her. She knows Shiki is with him, but she doesn't bother killing her because she sees no point in it. Even though her duty is to kill all vampires, and she knows Sion is a vampire, she doesn't kill her. In Melty Blood React, White Lyn is the boss of the game. White Lyn is all of Lyn's repressed feelings. There's some hatred for Arcueid, in that Arcueid never filled the role Lyn needed her for. A chain of regret before Lyn found her new master. And in a way, it's also where Red Arcueid first became a character. In the first game, Red Arcueid was nothing more than Walshia pretending to be Arcueid. Here, we finally see Red Arcueid as the repressed feelings of Arcueid. Can it be that Lyn also wants to help Arcueid? The two always had a misdemeanor about each other. They only just barely helped each other, and in a similar way to Anko and Alice. However, it seemed like Lyn always wanted that desire to connect to her, and Arcueid, realizing that she may have had that connection or wanted that connection, would constantly try to push her off to her other people. She wasn't accepting responsibility over Lyn. All she did was just, well, watch over her. Akatenza is Nero Chaos, a vampire that Arcueid and canon never had the power to kill on her own. A chain of weakness and powerlessness that ended up with Shiki getting extremely hurt. she may have some preservation about that. Similar to Anko, who has regrets about how she changed Shiki's lifestyle, life mentality. Arcueid may feel that she is the one responsible for Shiki getting extremely involved with vampires. That he could have lived his own normal life if he just never encountered her. That if she never dragged him in, she wouldn't have had Shiki live the life he's living. He could have been a normal human being, continue his life as a normal human. Obviously, we know that's a lie considering the far side route, but Arcueid doesn't know that, so you know. You may be thinking to yourself, didn't Arcueid free herself from all these chains, all these regrets? Why did she regress back to how she was before? Well, to give a better explanation, it's not like she regressed back, more like she realized stuff that she was being burdened by that she never confronted till now. All these villains are now giving her a chance to actually confront these parts of her. Which leads us to the final game. Actress again, as Multi-Blood Type Lumina wouldn't continue this storyline. Multi-Blood Type Lumina would also just not really do much with Arcueid. She's kinda a prop girl in Multi-Blood Type Lumina. This is also fair due to the fact that Type Lumina is a commercialized Tsukihime remake. But it still saddened me that we couldn't continue it with Arcueid. Or we couldn't explore a new avenue with Arcueid in Multi-Blood Type Lumina. But her final chain would be, well, she can't live as a human being. The first fight you have is against Koma. Koma in Multi-Blood is an illusion, a ghost, a creation by Whitelin. He is not the real deal. He's a fake, a fraud. And when the two meet, they have a conversation on how beautiful the cherry blossoms are. How they wish they can just live as real people. It's engaging how much the two relate to each other. In a way, it also showed one big thing Arcueid hated about herself the most. That the ideal version of herself exists inside her. That Archetype Earth is her, and that she will never be Archetype Earth.
検討したが及ばなかったなシエル。私も残念だが仕方あるまい。何しろ貴様との約束だ。滅ぼすと言った以上滅ぼさねば貴様に叱られよう。なんですかそのバカ理論。叱らない、叱りませんから。さっきの話はなかったこと。貴様の苦しむ顔は格別味があるね。安心するがよい。一握りの人は残す。あやつは我が左手に、貴様は右手というところか。では世界を閉じるとしよう。星よ、その息吹を一時休めて。ちょっと待った黙って聞いてれば好きかって言ってくれたわね。人の体を使って自傷行為とか迷惑だからやめてくれない？このようなことがあるのだな。幼き姫よ、無遊病の毛があったのか？それはこっちのセリフだっての。夢気分ではしゃいでるのはそっちでしょ？初めての観光で舞い上がるのは結構だけど、そろそろ夜明けよ。世間知らずのお姫様はお城に戻ってくださらない？なんと、この輝く春の風のような、抑えても抑えきれぬ胸の高鳴りは、そういうことであったのか。私も正直、 世界を滅ぼすのはやりすぎだろうとは思いはしたのだ。忌憚ない指摘、感謝するぞ。しかし、困る。そうは言っても、楽しくて仕方がないのだ。人に習って言うのなら、こうであろう。笑って許せ。暴走していると分かってはいるが、自分で自分を止められぬ。バカすぎて泣きできた。どんなに上位機種になっても、このアーパーはどこまで行ってもアーパーです。上等。初めから説得できる相手じゃないって分かってたし。となると、あとはこの手段だけよね。やはり結論は同じだな。マイルがよい、幼き姫よ。今のそなたのすべてを、我が手から守ってみよ。
She will forever live as the stupid vampire, the one that causes trouble for everyone. But she needs to realize that everyone loves her for that. And that's what everyone does. Ciel sees her in the cathedral, sees that she's drunk, and just call her out for it. She calls her stupid, but she doesn't mind at all. Shiki does the same thing, telling her, hey, it's time to come home. And he is happy to just call her out on being drunk again. It's the fact that all these characters know who she is underneath, that she doesn't have to be this perfect being for them to like her. They all love her for who she is. So when she finally confronts Sion, alternate universe, we'll be getting to that in another day. She tells her like it is. Tell her that life is worth living and that you should love yourself and shouldn't give up. You may have figured it out by now. The final chain that Arcueid faces is herself. Arcueid herself, Archetype Earth. What would it truly be like if she wasn't chained down by anything but herself? Will she be cruel and incapable of showing empathy to others like Archetype Earth? Or will Arcueid be able to restrain herself and be a person who can always have fun with Shiki and Ciel? The answer they gave us is that Arcueid would eventually just become Archetype Earth. That there's no way of turning this person into anything but Archetype Earth. This is who she has to be at the end of the day. But that's wrong. In a twist, Arcueid herself comes out of hiding, comes and awakens herself. It's a beautiful metaphor for truly accepting herself for who she is. That this perfect ideal version of herself that she constantly had in her head, that constantly was brought up by other people, isn't her. And that who that person is no longer her. She is perfect the way she is, and she deserves all the love that she got. She deserves her friends, her life, everything.
今夜もいい月ね。午前0時。のんびり花見をするのも風流っていうか。これでお酒と四季がいてくれたらな。夏に桜っていうのはやりすぎだけど。そうでしょ？そこのお兄さん。
まさしく鬼と桜だが、この場合、鬼はどちらになる？俺かお前か。美しい人の形をした妖魔と、厳しい鬼の形相をした人間。はためなら、まあ、こちらが悪鬼の類だろう
な。中身はそう変わらないんだから、どっちも同じでいいんじゃない？ただし、そっちは影絵の鬼みたいだけ
ど。やはりそうか。どうも意識が定まらなくてな。
夢の中にいるようだった。ここで出会ったのも何かの縁だ。生きている実感をくれないか。
いいけど、ちょっと手加減できないわよ、今の私。せっかくの花見を邪魔されたんだもの。
それこそ望むところだ。戦わねば目覚めぬ体ならとく消え去った方がいい。お前なら生の実感より先に死を体験させてくれそうだ。
Arcueid's story is a woman truly freeing herself from everyone to finally loving herself is inspirational to me. Arcueid, in many ways, is an extremely simple character that isn't used much, but that's because she doesn't need to be used much to be as complex as she is. Arcueid is Nasu's way of saying, live your life free, with the only thing restraining you being yourself. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.
まだまだ波よ、マイルつけるがよい、落ち着くがよい、波よ、波よ、竹々しいよ、そら前へ続くのさ。見事、そしてたまらなく痛快だ。星の大気である我が手足が受肉しただけの手足に倒されるとはな。命の優劣は力の強弱によって下されるものではない。最終的にどこに到達するのか、それのみが命の価値だと天の星は伝えている。それを人ではなく我が姫が訴えるとは、父も保蔵かもというもの。どうも我らはかの人の思惑通りにはいかぬようだ。迎えが来たようだな。懸命に守り通したそのゆりかごに戻るがよい。起きなさいアルクエイド。まさか共倒れなんてオチじゃないでしょうね。誰か呼んでる。すごく眠くて疲れてるけど、この声はきっと。普段は何が起きても無傷なくせに、こういう時だけ眠り姫の真似事ですか？起きないのなら景気づけに一発。起きるからそんなに揺らさないでよ。せっかく静かな夢を見ていたのに。でも嬉しい。助けに来てくれたのね。ようやく目が覚めましたか。はい、おはようございます。手間をかけさせてくれましたね。はあ、何ですかそのため息は。信じられない。がっかりしたからもう一回寝る。がっかりって何ですか？がっかりって介抱してあげた恩人に向かって。うるさい、空気読めバカシエル。いいから式呼んできて式。そうじゃないとまたあれと入れ替わる。あなたにバカ呼ばわりされる覚えはありません。大体ですね、そんな美味しいシチュエーション主が許してもこの私が許しませんから。はっ、問題発言。今のセリフ進行の土台を崩すものだと思います。今のはあくまで例えです。いいですよ、勝手に眠っていなさい。私はこれから遠野くんと買い物にでも行きますから。よし、いい感じに目が覚めた。夢も覚めたし、一足先に戻ってるわ。後片付けは押し付けた。はあ、この の爆心地の後始末を私だけでって早っ。もうあのところに約束は私の方が先なのに。そんなの早い者勝ちに決まってます。じゃあね、ありがとうシエル。お土産ぐらい買ってきてあげるから。もう待ちなさいアルクエイド。本当にあなたはいつまで経っても考えなしなんですか？